What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Take 3 podcast. We're here, NFL Week 12. Finally moved on into the Thanksgiving week. Obviously, we get 3 football games on Thursday, which is always awesome to sit down, spend some family time, hang out, and just watch football, right? And this year, it seems like we finally got some good games. I mean, Buffalo, Detroit's not the greatest, but Detroit is on a win streak. And Buffalo was obviously in Detroit last week because of the snow. They decided to fly back to Buffalo and then back to Detroit. I don't understand that, dude. Just get a nice hotel, bring all the equipment. What's the point of taking all the equipment back to Buffalo, coming all the way back? Doesn't make sense. But that's a good one. Giants, Dallas, obviously. Dallas, big favorites. Giants will look to, maybe play spoiler, look to get their season back going after dropping last week 31-18. And then New England and Minnesota. I mean, it's 2 teams. Minnesota, embarrassing loss. They're in prime time again, 7:20, the night game, the only game on. We know what primetime Kirk looks like, but I'm expecting good things out of them. I don't think New England has good defense. Bill Belichick's there, obviously, but I don't know if their offense. I think Minnesota gets right, if it's my honest opinion. Embarrassing game last week. I don't think they'll let it happen again. And then, you look at Sunday, not a lot of great matchups. Cincinnati, Tennessee is probably the game of the day. Sunday, if you were looking at these matchups, beforehand, right before the season happens, you could have a Chargers, Arizona game. You would say the Rams and Kansas City would be a hell of a game. Green Bay, Philadelphia, even New Orleans, San Fran. But the way the season's played out, it's really not, there's not really that much enticing. I wish they could honestly flex Cincy and Tennessee down a little bit so we could watch something afternoon wise. But what do you make of week 12? Obviously the Thanksgiving games and week 12 as a whole.
Yeah, like always, it always feels like the NFL has like just lopsided slates. They never you pretty much nailed it. When you look at it going into the year, you're like, oh, these are going to be great matchups. And then teams aren't as good as you think they are. And it leaves us with another late heavy slate. I love the Thursday game. Sunday is going to be a little lackluster outside of a couple matchups, but I'm sure we'll get some interesting ones. You never know what really happens. NFL Sundays get weird, and then we end up watching, teams we didn't really want to, and they end up being competitive. So I'm sure it'll work out.
Yep, for sure. You watch Atlanta and Washington turn into a great game, or Baltimore and Jacksonville somehow turns into the game of the week, or Vegas and Seattle. So there'll be something weird that happens this week that turns out better than everybody expected. But let's jump right into the Thanksgiving games. We're passing right over Buffalo and Detroit. We kind of already have a feeling how that's going to work out and how it's going to go. It's just how close will it be. So let's move into the dinner time game. The Cowboys obviously get their usual 4:30 slot on Thanksgiving Day. They're hosting the Giants. They're 9.5-point favorites. They just beat the piss out of the Vikings last week. So they're riding an emotional high going back home. We did watch Micah Parsons limp off late last week. Don't know how serious that injury is, but the run game looked good. Zeke looked back. Tony Pollard, obviously, what he does in the pass game and the run game, and then Dak didn't turn the ball over. And then you look at the Giants. They kind of tasted, it was a nasty defeat, not one that we saw on the docket, but Saquon Barkley, they got to find a way to get him going. Luckily, the Cowboys defense is so aggressive going that if he finds lanes and can make cuts and they can create room, he can maybe get some runs going and really carry that offense. That's what they're going to look to do. We saw last week the Daniel Jones carrying the load. It doesn't work. If Dallas gets ahead early, I'm worried for the Giants, even with the 9.5. So what do you make of Giants, Cowboys, 7-3 Giants taking on the I believe the 7-3 Cowboys?
Yeah, I think you laid it out really well. This matchup's super fun simply because of the stakes. 2 7-3 teams, both in the same division. In Dallas, the big Thanksgiving game. But to me, I think Dallas cruises to an easy victory here. Honestly, I expect them to win by 2 possessions. But with that being said, I'm taking the Giants to cover the points, believe it or not. I do expect Dallas, on paper, I think they should win by 2 possessions, but I think New York is just going to hang around, right? I think the game plan, you pretty much laid it out really well. In order for New York to win, you have to take advantage of Dallas being so aggressive on defense, and Saquon has to get going. If Saquon is limited or they slow him down at all, it's going to be a long day for Daniel Jones in New York. I do not trust them to get it done through the air at all. Brian Dable will dial something up and they'll get creative. But to me, it's all on Saquon offensively. He's got to be efficient, especially against a super aggressive defense. And to me, I think it's going to be one of those games. I think Dallas is going to have a really good Thanksgiving. I think they're going to look good. I think they're going to cruise to a victory. And to me, it's about do I think New York can hang around and cover? And I'm taking the New York Jets the New York Giants, to cover the 9.5 simply based off like a backdoor cover. But like, I think there's a separation between these two teams. I said it in the recap of last week that I don't think New York is as good as the record is. And I think we're going to start to see it down the stretch. And this is going to be one of those games. I think Dallas has a really good Thanksgiving. I think they should win easily, but I'm going to just pick the New York Giants to just hang around and be annoying enough to the Cowboys just to cover.
Yeah, I love tuning in Thanksgiving evening and seeing the Cowboys play a team that I can ruin Jerry Jones' Thanksgiving. And sadly, this year, I just don't think the Giants can do it. I mean, we saw what Daniel Jones did last week. We saw them come out flat at home against a Lions club. It wasn't really impressive. They got beat up by Jamal Williams on the ground, let up 3 touchdowns to him. Now you play Dallas in Dallas with 2 running backs that can run it right through you with Tony Pollard and Zeke. I just think it's going to be a long day for the Cowboys. You said it perfectly. There's a league. There's definitely a separation between these two clubs. You're looking at one of the NFC's elites playing against a team that kind of had a soft schedule early and found a way to upset a few teams, get to 7 wins. But I mean, these two teams are totally different 7-3 teams. It's Thanksgiving. I expect Jerry World to be popping. Unfortunately, I like the Cowboys by 14-17. I just think they're going to have everything. I think the Giants are going to get down to too far down early to really run Saquon. And then, I mean, if number 11 on defense is healthy, it's going to be a long day for Daniel Jones. I expect that front to come out super aggressive, attack him, and force some turnovers, as I said in the recap as well of week 11. I think the Giants downward spiral kind of begins, and it started a week early, right? It started last week against the Lions, and I expect it to be all Cowboys. It makes me sick to say that because I want Jerry Jones' Thanksgiving to be ruined, but sadly it's not going to be. I like Cowboys by 14-17. I think they roll easily over the Giants, and we won't really have to start talking about Giants football much longer.
One thing I'll say about the Giants is I keep counting them out all year, then they keep figuring out ways. I do not think it happens on Thanksgiving, but this would be a hell of a win for their season. And then I think we'd all be forced to take them seriously, regardless of how we feel moving forward, if they pull this one off.
Yeah, they win this, I'd laugh my ass off. A couple guys that I know at work are Cowboys fans, so it'd be very, very funny. They wait weekly for the Eagles to lose, and it would be the best Thanksgiving ever if they somehow lost to the Giants. I don't care. Took the Cowboys on the spread. I don't give a damn. If the Giants did it, I would crack up. But let's move on. Late game, as we said, primetime Kirk Cousins, he gets a home game. He gets some redemption. That Vikings offense as a whole, that O-line gets some redemption. They looked like shit against the Cowboys. Kirk Cousins got sacked 7 times. Just every time I turned around, he was getting hit. They just couldn't get anything going. It was kind of the emotional highs of the Buffalo win, which was a super lucky win. They couldn't ride the momentum at all into the home game. It was a trap game for sure. They get beat down 40-3 last week, and they're facing a team in the Patriots. Don't really have anything offensively. Bill Belichick's defenses are usually pretty good. Can't really gauge them against guys like Zach Wilson. Everybody's defense is going to look good if you're facing Zach Wilson weekly. He couldn't hit smoke screens from 2 yards away that I could have hit. But I'm interested to see how the Patriots look, right? Walk-off punt return. That was kind of an emotional win against a division team that nobody saw. Like, nobody saw the walk-off punt return coming. Everybody saw Nick Folk hitting a 20-yard field goal and it being a 6-3 W. So Vikings looking for redemption, get their season back going, get the 9-2, show that, hey, we're not frauds. I'm still selling on the Vikings for sure. But what do you make of this one? They're going up also against Judon off the edge for the Patriots. So, I mean, they could have some trouble again sack-wise. That front is going to look to get after Kirk Cousins, probably study that game tape up. And they have decent enough DBs where, hey, if they can get some bodies on Justin Jefferson, it could be a long Thursday night for Vikings fans, which they got to be dreading back-to-back weeks coming off that loss last week.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots certainly have a chance that way. Like, you laid it out really well. They have to be able to get to Kirk Cousins, slow down Justin Jefferson. Like, I love the Patriots run defense, but like, I'm all over Minnesota here. They got embarrassed last week. They're at home. They only need a field goal to cover the spread. I think they're a much better team than the New England Patriots are this year. I think Kirk Cousins should win by a touchdown with Justin Jefferson. If this was the older, like Mike Zimmer Vikings, I'd be more worried because I know he'd be stubborn and just try and pound Dalvin Cook 20 times anyway. Like, I think this is a perfect team for Minnesota because they're going to air it out more. And they have great defensive backs. And like, in theory, you could get bodies on Justin Jefferson, but like, that dude's so good that like, I have faith in him. bounce back and have a good game. And it's just like after last week against Dallas and what happened at home, Minnesota, I think, is just going to be fired up. New England escaped and got a win last week against the Jets, and the Jets are a very good defense. I have much more faith in this Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson passing offense than I do Mac Jones on the road. I don't have a ton of faith in Mac Jones, that New England offense. That's really where I hesitate with the Patriots. So like I'm all over Minnesota here. I like the Vikings quite a bit, only given 3 points. Like I like them a lot to bounce back here at home.
Yeah, I'm with it as well, but we'll see. I mean, they got to be able to stop the run, right? They had issues last week. We'll see. I mean, it's a Kirk Cousins primetime game. Can never count your blessings. Vegas isn't even they're not even going crazy. -145 favorites of the Vikings. So they're saying, dude, Bill Belichick, I mean, he could do it, right? He could definitely dial it up with the run game a little bit. And if Kirk Cousins in that O-line, if they don't iron out the O-line, it could be a long day. But I mean, I'm on the Vikings as well. I think it's a get back game. You're facing the Patriots. You're at home. Are you really going to look like shit 2 weeks in a row at home? If you're the Broncos or the Raiders, probably. But if you're the Vikings, you're probably not gonna do that. So I like them as well. I like them by a touchdown for sure. I think they'll get Justin Jefferson back on. They'll get Dalvin Cook. They'll get their guys Hawkinson out there, and they won't look as bad as they looked against the Cowboys. It's hard to look that bad twice in a row as well. Okay, let's move on. Late afternoon, really the only Sunday game on that damn slate that's worth talking about. Sunday Night Football, as you mentioned, is not much. Monday night sucks. Just everything's not really Sunday, as you said right off the rip. Lopsided slate. Thursday is really your prime day. So everybody, the whole world's probably off Thursday. You'll get to enjoy the bulk of Week 12 slate for sure that day. But you got the Bengals taking on the Titans. That's a solid AFC matchup as well, right? The Bengals are now 6-4. They win 37-30 last week against the Steelers. I trusted the Steelers for God knows why. The Bengals decided to put up points. I did bet on Joe Mixon, and he couldn't score any type of touchdown. I just needed anything, passing, rushing, anything, receiving, and he gets a concussion. Samaj Perine scores the 2 touchdowns. Typical type of stuff right there. But the Bengals looked good without Jamar Chase again. And then obviously they're facing the Tennessee Titans, who are going to be looking to get Derrick Henry up over 100 yards. They'll get him the 25, 28, 30 touches, and they're going to look to do their thing with Derrick Henry, bruise it. The Bengals are 1.5 point favorites. What do you see here? Did they keep it rolling? Have the Bengals figured it out? Have they figured out life without Jamar Chase as it gets closer to Jamar Chase's return, or will they get mowed down by Derrick Henry?
Yeah, this is a really fun matchup, a repeat of the divisional round from last year. I think this game is kind of a coin flip. Like the line clearly says it is, but like this game could go either way. You get Derrick Henry at home, Tennessee Titans. The passing game is starting to come alive. Treylon Burks had a big game. You can tell that's him and Ryan Tannehill are developing a connection. And then Westbrook, the other receiver, he's been coming alive as well. He's been much better. So it's like all of a sudden Tennessee's weapons are starting to come together after Derrick Henry, which is so important. And then we know Mike Vrabel is going to have that defense ready to play. They're not an elite unit, but they are an above average. They're a very good unit. But like I like Cincinnati here simply because of Joe Burrow. Honestly, like I'm riding the Joe Burrow train. I was really high on them heading into the year. I think they're starting to figure it out. We'll see if Joe Mixon's ready to play after the concussion. There's a chance Jamar Chase comes back this week against Tennessee. Honestly, I would not rush Jamar Chase at all. I don't think this is obviously you want to win this game, but I don't think if you lose this game, it's like a like big indicator of your season or anything. So, but like I like Cincinnati here. They've been able to get it going. We see that they're starting to figure out the offense without Jamar Chase, like you hinted at. It's not just big play after big play. We got T. Higgins balling, Tyler Boyd, Smaji Perine came right in, didn't miss a beat for Joe Mixon. So it's like with or without Mixon, I like what Cincinnati's doing offensively. Their defense has been very good this year. They're pretty good against the run. Granted, they're going to be very, very tested against Derrick Henry. I think Cincinnati holds up. I think Joe Burrow gets it done through the air, and I like Cincinnati by like a field goal to a touchdown, 1-score game.
For sure. It's a true coin flip. I think whoever wins is winning by a field goal. I'm just rolling with the Titans. I think it's a get back game for them. And yeah, I mean, that's really it. I think Derrick Henry will get it going. and find his way. They've kind of improved the passing game. I'm not relying on Ryan Tannehill to tear and shred teams through the air. It was good for them to see Treylon Burks kind of do his thing, right? He kind of broke out. It has been a struggle all year. They needed somebody to get out there and replace AJ Brown when you move on from him, and Treylon Burks last week showed, hey, maybe I can be that guy. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Mike Vrabel defense will have his guys. He's at home. I just think he'll have them coached up enough. Maybe Joe Burrow sucks the turnover. Maybe Zach Taylor sucks at calling plays. But I think just whoever wins this, it's a field goal. As you said, it's a true coin flip in my eyes. And the line says it all, right? The line, the 1.5 says coin flip. I'm rolling Titans just because they're back at home, coming off a big win against the Packers. And I think Derrick Henry finds a way to mow his way through the Bengals defense and get the job done. But it's not with any confidence. I could see this going truly either way. It's not one of those games where I'm sitting here with confidence, because I love T. Higgins. Obviously, I hope Joe Mixon gets back out there, have him on a fantasy team. So I need him to clear the protocol. But when you got Boyd, you got T. Higgins, I wouldn't rush Jamar Chase back as well. Your offenses looked just fine without him. Let him get fully healthy and then run him back out there. But teams have done dumber things before. But yeah, true coin flip game in Tennessee. Best game of the slate, I'd say, for Sunday, unless you're an Eagles fan like we are, and that's probably our game. But matchup wise, this is definitely the cream of the crop on Sunday. Moving in, you got something to close it? Yeah. You're good. Okay. Moving on. Week 12 spread picks. We're looking to pick it up. I think would you say we went 7-6-1 last week, or 7-5-1? It was something along those lines coming out of week 11. But yeah, I mean, what games do you love on this week 12 docket? What things would you consider a hammer, if there is a lock or a hammer on this slate?
A lot of close ones. I don't know if there's one that I truly love a lot. I like the Vikings -3 quite a bit. Honestly, if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Vikings -3. But there's some pretty close ones. And then when you get the ones with a lot of points, like Chiefs 14.5, they should cover that, right? But like 2 scores is a lot. Saints +9 or Niners -9. I don't feel good about either side. So like if I have to pick just one, I think I'm going Vikings -3. That would be my lock for the week. I have a hard time seeing them lose the game, and they only have to win by a field goal. So like Vikings -3 would be mine.
Yeah, I'd say mine is honestly Bears +4.5. I don't know. Like, you throw Joe Flacco out there, he hasn't played in weeks. If Zach Wilson somehow manages to hold on to his job, it's like you're giving me the Bears. I mean, I pray Justin Fields takes the field. I think he'll be good enough to take the field. He just seems like that type of guy that's not going to look to miss a game. And yeah, but I just can't trust the Jets QB situation. Super weird. So I'm going to roll Bears +4.5. I feel like they can keep it close enough, if not win, if Justin Fields is out there. If he's not out there, I'm going to sound like a dumbass, and they're going to get beat for sure. And then, yeah, Vikings -3 is a good one as well. I would say you're not dabbling in Chiefs 14.5. You don't like two touchdown games against bad, or honestly, dude, like Matt Stafford can't clear the concussion protocol. I could easily, like, that's going to be an ass whooping. That's going to be like 21-24. Like,
it should be.
Yeah, that should be 38-10. I'd say, like 38-7, like not even remotely close. And Dolphins as well, like off a week of rest, their guys should be ready to go. You're telling me to take a big one. I like that one quite a bit. Just they're off a week of rest. I watched Dameon Pierce touch the ball 10 times for 8 yards last week. I expect the Dolphins to come out. Tyreek get going, Waddle get going, Jeff Wilson. They seem to have everything. Mike McDaniel's going to have his boys ready. But any closing thoughts? You ready for Sunday Night Football? Aaron Rodgers, we're touchdown favorites against the Green Bay Packers at home. We're wearing the all black jerseys with the black alternate helmets. But yeah, I mean, any kind of closing thoughts before we get on out of here?
I think it's actually a really good spot for the Eagles. So not like spread wise to pick them. I'm not comfortable with that touchdown after the last 2 weeks, but like just for the team and like growth wise, because they had a national Monday night game where they obviously lost. They didn't look good. Here's a chance to bounce back from that. And you get Aaron Rodgers. I know they haven't been great this year, but what they do is run the ball really well. And that's what we've been struggling with. We signed a couple guys. So like, I think it's a perfect test. Let's see if we can stop the run, and let's see if we can not turn the ball over for a third week in a row.
For sure. I'm looking for clean offense. Clean offense. It seemed like we fixed up a little bit of the defensive issues with the run game after that first drive against Jonathan Taylor. They patched it up, and Ndamukong Suh, another week of reps, and Linval Joseph as well. They should help on the inside. And yeah, I'm just looking for clean football out of the Eagles. Beat this team that you should easily beat by a touchdown to 10 points, because nothing on that Packers side really scares me. Get off the field on third downs and slow down the run game, and it should be an easy W for the Eagles. But I mean, yeah, that's going to wrap it up for week 12's previews. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Drop any feedback if you have any in the description below, or add us on Twitter at Take3Sports. As always, Spotify link will be tossed in the description if you're an audio only listener. And yeah, thank you for listening. Enjoy enjoy the Thanksgiving time, enjoy the family time and the football, and we'll see you back for week 12's recap.